John 7:30. Quaerebant ergo eum ad prehendere, et nemo misit in illum manus, quia nondum venerat hora eius. Therefore, they were seeking to seize him, and no one laid hands on him, since his hour had not yet come. Perhaps the first thing we want to note about this verse is the alternate spelling apprehendere with two P's instead of a D and a P. That is to say, often in the spelling of this word, these two different consonants were evened out. That is to say, the first consonant was assimilated to the second. That's a common phenomenon in Latin linguistics. Whether or not it would be written without assimilation depended on a host of different factors and possibly even just the whim of a particular scribe in some circumstances. So we won't spend any time trying to parse that mystery or figure it out. We'll just note that ad prehendere, in case you're confused looking in the dictionary, is the same as apprehendere with two P's. We also want to notice the perfect third-person singular active indicative misit, indicating the past tense. First past tense we've got here in the verse is quaerebant. They were seeking. Now this refers contextually to the Jewish leaders and authorities. Imperfect third-person plural active indicative. They were seeking, therefore, that is to say, because of the stuff he had been saying, they were seeking to seize him. And often we find quaero, seeking or attempting or aiming at something. We find it with a complementary infinitive, as we have here. And no one misit manus. Now this is an idiom. We need an idiom alert here, okay? This is equivalent to what we say in English when we say to lay hands on someone. I'm uncertain whether mittere with manus was idiomatic in classical Latin. Certainly similar idioms are attested. For instance, manus afferre, to apply or put on hands, or inicere, which means the same thing. Those are phrases which are attested all over the place. So probably somebody familiar just with classical idioms would not be terribly confused by this. It may be that mittere manus is found in classical texts as well. I have not exhaustively checked, so you can do that if you know how to do it, and let me know in the comments if you like. But because this was a common idiom in Hebrew, and there's a version of it in Greek as well, and it's sort of a common idea to most languages, the idea of laying or putting hands on someone as a kind of metaphor for arresting or apprehending or seizing them, because that's such a common idea and idiom arising out of the physical reality of arrest, we probably don't need to draw too fine distinctions between whose idiom is it. It's an idiom that would have been recognizable to everybody. Et nemo misit in illum manus, nobody laid hands on him, because, and here's the reason, and it's not a reason that exists necessarily in the minds of those who are refraining thus from laying hands on him. John is giving us what we might call kind of the providential reason here. That is, he's saying, here's the real reason. The real reason, whatever people thought they were doing, is because his hour, his time, his kairos in Greek, his right moment, had not yet arrived. And this is a great use of the pluperfect tense, which indicates something more than past, extra past. His hour had not yet arrived. Therefore, this other thing happened in the past more recently from our perspective.